Hello, everyone, and welcome to Amara's Voice. I'm a teacher and an uplifter, which means I see people as already whole. I see them as vibrant, joyful, magnificent, and powerful. I see the source within them, which leads them to a powerful truth from within. I see them living in alignment with self, having such wonderful beliefs that make them stay in their joyful, natural element. Today, I'm pondering emotional unavailability. Now, this is a topic close to home, and I teach only things that I can for sure say I've lived. So I teach from the clarity of my own example. I can say this has been my life until recently. As I've changed my beliefs and with them my ego, I now see things with such certainty that I'm appalled how I didn't see it before. I also want to say this before I begin. I don't blame anyone for my experiences, and I don't judge anyone either. Everyone is where they are in their own journey, and that's okay. When I meet people or even speak to them from my past, I don't feel bitterness or resentment. I genuinely believe everyone teaches us something about ourselves. Every relationship, every friendship, and every experience reveals something for us to see more clearly within ourselves. So, in many ways, I welcome the opportunity to know people because through them, I continue learning more about who I am. Emotional unavailability is often misunderstood because people think it only looks like avoidance, someone pulling away, someone who cannot commit, someone who struggles to express emotions. And yes, sometimes it looks like that. But emotional unavailability can also look like over-attachment, overthinking, becoming consumed by another person, needing constant assurance or reassurance, losing yourself inside relationships, wanting love so deeply that you abandon yourself trying to secure it. And this is where things become clearer, or because emotionally unavailable people are often attracted to each other. One person runs, the other chases. One withdraws, the other clings. One avoids intimacy physically and emotionally, while the other avoids themselves through emotional dependence. Both people appear different on the surface, but both are disconnected from self in some way. I used to think love was intensity, obsession, constant emotional movement, uncertainty, high highs and painful lows. I thought if someone consumed my thoughts, then surely it meant the connection was deep. But emotional chaos is not always love. Sometimes it is simply unresolved fear, attachment wounds, inconsistency, and the nervous system becoming addicted to unpredictability. What I've now realized is that emotionally available love feels different. It feels calmer, safer, clearer, not boring, not passionless, just emotionally safe. There is communication, presence, stability, clarity. You are not constantly trying to decode someone's behavior or wondering where you stand with them. You are able to relax into yourself. And perhaps the hardest realization for me was understanding that I could not fully receive healthy love while abandoning myself. Because emotional availability is not only about whether someone else can love you, it is mostly about whether you are able to be available for yourself. Whether you listen to your own emotions honestly, whether you communicate clearly, whether you self-abandon to keep connection, whether you believe you are worthy of stable love, whether you are able to show up for yourself truly. Sometimes we chase emotionally unavailable people because on some level, unavailable love feels familiar. And the ego often mistakes familiarity for chemistry. but true connection does not require you to lose yourself to experience closeness. The more aligned I've become with myself, the more clearly I can now recognize emotional safety. And honestly, it has changed the way I experience people entirely. What makes emotional unavailability so difficult to recognize is that it does not always appear cold or distant. Sometimes these emotionally unavailable people can be charming, loving, exciting, and deeply intoxicating. In fact, for many people, emotional inconsistency becomes mistaken for love itself. The highs feel euphoric, the attention feels earned. The small moments of affection become so meaningful because they are unpredictable. And because they are unpredictable, they feel valuable. The nervous system begins to attach itself not to stability, but to emotional uncertainty. Many people who struggle with emotional availability are not simply anxious or avoidant. They are often both. The response changes depending on who they are interacting with. When someone is emotionally distant, unavailable, or difficult to secure, their attachment intensifies. The longing grows stronger. The person suddenly appears more attractive, more desirable, more important. But once that same person becomes fully available, emotionally present and consistent, interest may begin to fade. This dynamic does not only appear in romantic relationships, it can appear in friendships as well. Some people spend their lives feeling like one person among many, wanting to feel deeply chosen, wanting emotional exclusivity, wanting to feel emotionally prioritized by someone. And yet, because emotional inconsistency feels familiar, emotionally available connections can initially feel unfamiliar, uncomfortable, or even boring. This creates a painful cycle between anxious attachment and avoidance. The moment distance appears, there is craving, pursuit, and emotional intensity. But the moment closeness becomes stable and secure, there may be withdrawal, emotional detachment, or loss of interest. Not because love is absent, but because the nervous system has become conditioned to associate longing with connection. And this is where emotional unavailability becomes important to understand, because emotionally unavailable people are not always avoiding love. Sometimes they deeply desire love while simultaneously struggling to feel safe within it. Sometimes they chase what they cannot have while losing interest in what becomes emotionally accessible. Real emotional availability feels different. It feels calmer, clearer, more stable. There is less confusion and more honesty, less emotional performance and more presence. It does not require someone to constantly earn affection through uncertainty or emotional struggle. Many people do not realize how unfamiliar emotional safety feels until they finally experience it. And when they do, they begin to understand that true intimacy is not found in emotional chaos, but in the ability to remain connected to both another person and to yourself at the same time. As life began to change internally for me, something else also became clear. Purpose and emotional chaos cannot comfortably exist together for very long. A person who is truly beginning to align with themselves starts realizing that growth requires focus, clarity, peace, and supportive environments. It becomes difficult to build a meaningful life while constantly emotionally consumed by inconsistency, confusion, or the need to secure love from unavailable people. This is where many people find themselves in an uncomfortable transition. You may begin changing your beliefs, letting go of old emotional patterns and old beliefs, becoming more intentional with thoughts, habits, and self perception. You slowly start choosing thoughts that feel better, healthier, and more aligned. You begin discovering purpose, passion, and direction. But even while evolving it internally, the nervous system may still be attached to emotionally unavailable dynamics because familiarity does not disappear overnight. So, even as life begins opening in new ways, emotionally unavailable relationships may still appear repeatedly. The attraction may still exist. Emotionally safe people may still seem uninteresting, boring, or lacking intensity. And this can feel confusing because consciously there is a desire for peace, stability, and genuine connection, while emotionally it's still conditioning toward unpredictability and emotional pursuit. The old patterns have such momentum that it's not easy to just stop them. This is why healing is not simply about understanding new ideas intellectually. It is also about becoming emotionally available for a different kind of life. A life where love no longer distracts from purpose but supports it. A life where relationships no longer drain energy through confusion and inconsistency, but instead create emotional safety, encouragement, clarity, and expansion. Because the truth is, emotionally available people often help others become more themselves, not less. They support focus, they support growth, they support peace of mind, and eventually there comes a moment where emotional chaos no longer feels romantic. It simply feels exhausting and boring. For me, as purpose, creativity, and self awareness began taking up more space, the dynamics that once felt thrilling slowly stopped making sense. Emotional unavailability no longer felt exciting, it felt draining. The same inconsistency that once created attraction eventually became deeply unattractive. What began to matter instead was steadiness, trust, security, presence, being chosen clearly and consistently, and this shift was deeply connected to purpose. Because without direction, inner connection, and intentional growth, emotionally unavailable dynamics still felt stimulating and alive. But as awareness expanded and life became more aligned, the thrill slowly disappeared. Eventually, calmness stopped feeling boring and started feeling beautiful and joyful. Supportive people became more attractive than emotionally confusing ones. And for perhaps the first time in my life, emotional peace felt more fulfilling than emotional intensity. As people begin changing internally, they often notice that many things they once normalized no longer resonate the same way. Certain habits, distractions, and coping mechanisms gradually lose their appeal. Not because anyone is forcing change, but because awareness itself begins shifting. Things that once felt exciting, numbing, or stimulating may suddenly feel empty, excessive, or emotionally heavy. Even certain social dynamics begin losing their attraction. Friendships that require constant proving, chasing, or emotional performance no longer feel fulfilling. Relationships built on inconsistency, emotional games, or lack of depth stop creating the same emotional pull they once did. And this can feel disorienting at first because the nervous system is no longer responding to the same forms of stimulation. People who once easily commanded attention may no longer create that same emotional reaction. The thrill disappears, the attachment weakens, the emotional charge fades. At the same time, those who were deeply connected to older versions of a person may also begin feeling disconnected from the new version emerging. Sometimes relationships naturally fall away, not because anyone is wrong or bad, but because the emotional patterns holding the connection together no longer exist in the same way. Growth often changes attraction itself. What once felt magnetic may suddenly feel exhausting, while peace, steadiness, and emotional honesty begin feeling far more meaningful than intensity ever did. As people become more connected to themselves, their purpose and their inner direction, they often begin losing interest in dynamics that create emotional restlessness. The desire for peace, clarity, and meaningful creation becomes stronger than the desire for emotional chaos or temporary stimulation. And surprisingly, many attachments begin falling away naturally. Certain relationships, habits, and emotional patterns no longer feel aligned, so releasing them becomes less painful than expected. It can feel similar to cleaning out a closet. Some things that once felt important, comforting, or exciting, but eventually they no longer fit the person someone is becoming. There is appreciation for what those experiences once were, but also a clear knowing that they no longer belong in the present. There's also that outfit that you hold on to despite throwing away so many others, but you know certainly that you no longer wear it. Some dynamics feel like that, and these are harder to let go of because maybe the person meant so much to you or they were there for you when you really needed them. Eventually, if they no longer fit, you will still let them go. This process can feel deeply freeing, not empty but lighter, clearer, almost like cleaning and reorganizing a room and suddenly realizing how peaceful it feels to exist within the new space. Emotional energy is no longer constantly pulled in exhausting directions, and because of that, is more room for creativity, purpose, joy, and emotional stability to enter. So, this is what feels most important to emphasize today. Find a reason for living. Find something that genuinely lights you up and allow yourself to pursue it fully. Everyone has their own direction, their own inner direction, their own nature, their own unique way of being alive in this world. But that purpose is not found outside of self. It is found within, through self-awareness, through paying attention to what feels true, meaningful, and deeply alive. And it's never like a grand thing. What feels passionate now may be something simple like drinking more water. If you feel passionate about it, do it. That little meaningless thing will lead to another and to another. Just follow your passions as they come. Because with that, there is no resistance. Don't wait for the big purpose, like something big has to happen. And something beautiful begins happening when people truly choose themselves. The relationships that enter their lives begin reflecting that same energy back to them. Friendships become more genuine. Love becomes more secure. There is less confusion about where someone stands because emotionally available people choose clearly, consistently, and fully. The body is often one of the clearest signs that someone is truly changing internally. As old emotional patterns begin falling away, the nervous system also stops responding to certain dynamics in the same way. Things that once created excitement, obsession, or emotional intensity may suddenly feel empty, tiring, or emotionally unmoving. And this shift can feel surprising at first. A person may notice that someone who once had the power to completely consume their attention no longer creates the same emotional reaction. The small bits of affection that once felt intoxicating now feel unsatisfying. The inconsistency no longer feels exciting. Instead, emotional steadiness begins feeling more attractive than the unpredictability. And this is important because many people temporarily leave unhealthy dynamics while still carrying the same internal patterns within themselves. So even when one emotionally unavailable person leaves, another often appears in a different form. Same dynamic, different face. The cycle repeats because the attraction itself has not yet changed internally. It may feel safe in the beginning, but eventually the same thoughts from old patterns reappear and you self-sabotage. Self-sabotaging is continuing to think the same thoughts that created the suffering you're trying to escape, or holding on to thoughts, beliefs, and patterns that no longer benefit the person you are becoming. This is why external strategies alone rarely create lasting change. People spend years learning how to appear less available, how to make others chase them, or how to emotionally manipulate attraction. But true transformation happens within. When beliefs change deeply, attraction changes naturally. The nervous system no longer craves the same emotional chaos because the person themselves is no longer emotionally connected to it in the same way. And honestly, for many people, finally experiencing that shift feels like relief, a kind of freedom. People will continue not choosing themselves and therefore continue being unchosen by others. And this is important to understand. It is not truly the fault of the people who are not choosing them. The deeper issue is that they have not yet chosen themselves. And choosing yourself has very little to do with external things. Exercising, eating well, skincare, vacations, and self-care routines can all be beautiful expressions of self-love. But if you're still depending on external things to create the self-worth that must come from within, then you're still disconnected from yourself in some way. True self-choosing begins with the inner being, the deepest self underneath fear, attachment, and validation seeking. It is about aligning with the beliefs that this inner self already holds, studying one's true nature, spending time alone, walking a path that feels genuine, finding true passion and pursuing it fully, knowing thyself, because everyone acts as a mirror. And when people repeatedly encounter relationships where they're not fully chosen, valued, or prioritized, it often reflects an internal disconnection first. Even when they eventually meet people who appear to choose them externally, true satisfaction still remains difficult if they have not yet found that inner place of alignment within themselves. And this is not simply spiritual language or positive thinking. It's something people can experience directly for themselves once they begin genuinely changing from within, changing your thoughts and beliefs. Look back on the last few relationships, friendships, or even work dynamics and pay attention to the patterns that repeat themselves. Notice the similarities. Notice whether there is always a feeling of chasing, proving, waiting to be chosen, or emotionally overextending without feeling fully met in return. And then ask yourself, honestly, is there a pattern of choosing others while not truly choosing the self? Because many people spend years trying to finally be chosen by others while still disconnected from their own inner being. And interestingly, when people truly begin choosing themselves, even those who once overlooked them may suddenly begin choosing them too. But this inner work should never be done simply to finally receive validation from others. That only continues the same cycle. It should be done because feeling good, aligned, and connected to self genuinely matters. Change the beliefs being carried internally. Question old patterns. Understand that many beliefs are interpretations repeated through thought so often that they begin feeling like absolute truth. But beliefs can change. And when beliefs change, attraction and relationships begin changing too. Everything is relational. Emotionally unavailable people can only attract emotionally unavailable people. You're a mirror. Instead, ask yourself, why am I attracting this? What is it that I haven't learned yet that this lesson keeps coming back again and again and again? I'm Amara, and I'm pondering for the love of pondering. I love you all. Focus on feeling good